everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So yesterday I started off this video where I was going to kind of challenge myself to read as many pages as I can in a day with as minimum of distractions as I could, and I managed to read almost 150 pages of this, which is quite a few pages considering that I had a very so I've gotten to 200 pages, and I am honestly really enjoying the book because the chapters are super short, and there's something very comforting about the font used, because I remember reading The Daughter of Smoke and Bone when I was in school, and reading this font just brings back so much comfort. Another thing I want to talk about in terms of as much as I've read so far, I think one of the reasons that I really love Lady Taylor's books is that the characters that are kind of romantically involved, each pair or each couple is kind of really secure in terms of what they feel for each other, in terms of the male character being like so devoted to the female lead. And even in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, the two main characters, they're kind of like completely like their love is what is like central to the plot line, at least when it comes to my perspective of what I had read. And even in this, even though the love isn't completely central to it, I do absolutely love the couple. And I think the spin-offs that Lady Taylor comes up with have the same like perception of romantic love. Even the other characters, like, okay, so the Errol Fane and his wife, I can't remember, Azarine, is that what her name is? Errol Fane and Azarine and their love story, like, if there were two characters that I really wanted a spin-off with, it would be those two characters, because I really want to know what will happen to them. Their love is so complicated, and there's so much complexity to what could end up happening with those two characters, and if that isn't covered in this book, I really want to spin off with those two characters. Moreover, it's just like, I remember when I used to really like angsty romance novels and stuff, and I'd constantly be like, oh, angst, and it's just like they're not getting together, there are misunderstandings, and they're just like the guy isn't being totally forthcoming with his feelings, or the girl isn't being forthcoming, or they just don't want to confront each other and their feelings for each other. I might still enjoy that, but there's something so wholesome, so desirable, so admirable about these kind of romances where you're just kind of so like the only thing that could like mess up whatever's going on with the two couples is like destiny, it's fate, it's like things they cannot control. And I actually love that, because I'm like, can you guys, otherwise it's just like, can you guys just talk to each other, can you guys just like confront your feelings for each other, like it's just that easy, can you guys be more mature about this? But with this, it's just like, I really like it really brings out the fantasy aspect. Like, if you're looking at romanticities and you're trying to like look into the whole will they end up together, but also there's like this major plot line going in the background, these wars, and this like defeat of the like facing evil, good versus evil, like this whole aspect. You can't really focus if the two main leads are just not getting together because of unbelievable misunderstandings. I also think when it comes to this book that when I was reading Strange the Dreamer, I think the world building was at a slower pace, and we were kind of just really getting to know the characters and getting to know the whole background. But I feel like in terms of this book, the world building is so much more fast paced, and it's like it's really engaging, and I really like these tiny things that we're learning about. So in part one, there is this page where Miss Taylor puts a noun, and then she defines that noun, and somehow in the first part you'll come to understand this like tiny little symbol and what it means, and how much it adds to the book, and how much character it adds to the book. And then part two, there's another noun. So in the first part, there's the noun Lilith, and how those refer to the tattoos that are given to the girls of Weep when they reach of age, and it's meant to symbolize something. It's meant to symbolize fertility, strength, power, the ability to create life, to nurture life. And the very same thing I could associate with Shaktism and the Yoni and stuff like that from Eastern philosophy. And I really liked making those associations in my head. And then in part 2 they talk about astral, the noun astral. It's another, wait, let me just take a look. Yeah, so part 2 has this page called astral, and in astral it is a rare, and it is about something that comes from the stars, and then later we see what that is referring to and how that will play into the plot line. And I think I really like that about these books, like these small little symbols that mean something, you know, that will play into the story. And honestly, I really love the way she writes. I think the one reason why I place Laini Taylor and Erin Morgenstern on this almost on the same level is because of the way they write. First of all, articulation aside and the poetic aspect of what they write aside, it's also the shortness of their chapters. It's also about how each chapter has something magical to hold. Each chapter leaves you wanting more of that chapter, you know. So that aspect of it I really enjoy. I'm kind of really enjoying reading this book because I was really bummed. I was going through somewhat of a reading slump in terms of just DNFing this book, and I felt really guilty about it because I was like, oh my god, Omika, you're an imposter and you don't read if you're just DNFing books right and left, or if you're just like moving on to another book. But then yesterday I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and she said something where she was just like, this year I had promised myself that I would, if I'm not liking the book and if I'm not enjoying the characters and I just don't care about what's happening next, I'm gonna leave the book. I'm not gonna give any more time to this book. And maybe at some point, this is my own perspective, and maybe at some point in the future I will want to pick up this book and it'll impact me in the way that it isn't impacting me right now. But right for now, I honestly don't think I should be spending any more time on this book, even though it's such a beautiful book. I am hoping to pick it up another time. So we're just going to go along with this, and I'm gonna see. Yesterday when I started this video, I planned to read as many pages as I could, and by the time I was going to fall asleep, I was just like, I kind of want to extend this challenge to see how many pages I can read this week. So we're gonna exclude yesterday's pages, but for the video, but we're gonna include it in my head. Okay, so let's start off with this. Let's see if we can even finish this book this week, and then we can move on from there, and let's just see how many ratings I give each of these books and if I can find a 5-star rating amongst them, right? So let's get started. I can't believe this. The last thing I was talking about was of Errol Fane and Azarine's love story and how I wanted to know more about that. And if there were to be a spin-off, I would want it to be about the two of these, about the two of them. But the very next chapter I'm reading is titled Isagol's Broken Toy. It is about Errol Fane. So, and the first line itself is, Azarine fell in love with Errol Fane when she was 13 years old. Like, girl, you wanted this. Oh my god, there's this part where she says, Taylor says, they knew all the shadowed places where they could be alone, to kiss and touch and press and breathe and drown and live and burn. Like, I honestly thought I couldn't enjoy romance anymore, and I was just like, I'm like, okay, fine, I've seen everything that I have to see, and romance isn't something that's going to make me giddy and excited and all that anymore. But love like this makes me feel like this is the kind of love I want to see around me, and not the angsty, you know, problematic and all of that kind of love. Now that I'm reading Azarine and Errol Fane's entire story, and I'm past that, I also kind of want a spin-off of all the Mesarthim, meaning I also want a spin-off of all the Mesarthim and like the story behind Isagol and Scatis, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing their names right, but Lita, Ikirok. I want to know about all of them. I want to know about Kurako and what was her name? Kurako's sister, the eagle. I can't for the life of me remember, but I just really want a spin-off of these characters as well, where I really kind of get to see some kind of like vulnerability, some kind of complexity in their actions and their moral compass, so that I don't think that they were as bad as, because if it's said that the Seraphim came and then the Mesarthim came, and how they were all drawn to the Weep, and how like they're all gods with these powers and like these abilities. I do not think that they're entirely, just, what's the word for it, like I don't think that they're as, I think when we perceive all the, I just basically want to know why, like if they were all just plain evil the way it's been shown, or was there a storyline behind all of this? I just want to know. Good morning, guys. It's the next day. I only managed to read a little over 50 pages, which is honestly really upsetting. It seems like a little, but it does seem more to me, I guess. But honestly, yeah, I did not get to read that much yesterday. I had gone over the 200 mark, but now I'm still at 270, and I'm not upset, to be honest. I would be usually, because I'm like, okay, fine, like what's the point of this video if I only finish a single book? But it's also that I'm really enjoying the book, so I don't mind taking my time reading it, so that's okay. Yesterday, the reason why I could not get more reading done was because my dad really wanted to go watch a movie, and I really was not in the mood, and I convinced him in every way possible that I did not want to go watch a movie, and that there weren't really any good films either, and Dave couldn't be there, so I was just not in the mood. And we ended up going for How to Train Your Dragon, the unanimated version or whatever. And honestly, like throughout the movie I was not very like pumped because I knew the story already and I had watched the animated version so many times. Yeah, it was exciting to see like the CGI and like everything that might have gone into making this film, and like yeah, there were slight variations, but overall it was more or less the same story. And I like How to Train Your Dragon, and it's just that I guess I just wasn't in the mood to watch and I was really in the mood to read. So like even during the intermission I just like pulled out my book from my tote bag and I was just like reading, and my mom was just looking at me like, she not enjoying the movie? Because they were watching this movie only because of me. They wanted to watch another movie and I was just not up for that movie. So I was like really not in the mood to watch it, and they were just because they wanted to spend time with me and they wanted me to watch with them, they decided to watch this movie. And it was like, I was like, no, I can't even be like all mean about it, like no, I don't want to watch it, I don't want to watch it and all of that. So I was kind of also worried that I was worried about a lot of things. I was worried about like my mom and dad not enjoying it, just getting bored or falling asleep. But my mom the whole time, like it just really shows that, you know, some people can really be open to childlike wonder and childlike innocence, and my mom does have that in her. And she was just like throughout the movie, whenever we were watching the 3D version, and usually now the 3D version really does not have an impact on us because I guess we're so used to that stimulation by now. But it's like they still had those effects where like the water, every time the water would be like splashing, you could actually feel like it would come up at you, which was very surprising for me too. And she was all like, she was kept making these exclamations, just being like ooh ah, and like if something was happening, like someone was falling or something like dangerous was happening, she'd be like or like if someone's going to get hurt, she would just like, oh my god, no, this and that. And I was just like really happy to just hear that, you know, even though I wasn't really enjoying the movie completely. Not to say that the movie wasn't good, it has really high ratings, and I might even be looking forward to the next one. But it's just that I, in that moment, like whatever, I just did not want to watch and I was just not happy being there. But I was happy to hear my mom make those exclamations and enjoy the movie. And just and towards the end, even my dad was like, oh, so is it this, is it that? And I was just like, yeah, like I knew the storyline, so I was just like, yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, it was all right. We watched the movie, and then I thought that by the time I came home I would end up reading a few pages, but I was so exhausted. It was already past 1 by the time I had dinner and everything, and I didn't even get to talk to Dev yesterday, and for the past 2 days we haven't had any time to speak to each other. So I'm also bummed about that, especially when I'm reading a book like this, and I'm just like, I really miss him. Like I'm waiting for the weekend, and I'm gonna read some more today, keep you guys in the loop. And I'm also hoping to start another book today, because I'm like, if I stay too long in this whole bubble of, oh, I don't want this book to finish, I don't think I'll be picking up any other books. And it's already getting really close to the 20th of June, so let's just get along with our TBR, right? Let's get started. So I just finished like over 100 pages. I'm currently at 400 and I had stopped at 270. So I am 130 pages in. Okay, and it's maybe been more than an hour or 2 hours and I just got through. And honestly, I'm in awe of the way that Laini Taylor writes. I hadn't read her books for a while, and I had begun to, in some ways, be like, maybe it isn't as big a deal as I thought it was, or it isn't as beautiful as I thought it was, because I was reading so many other books and I was like, oh, this is beautiful too, this is beautiful too. But now that I'm reading it again, wow. Like, you know, the way like she puts like a tiny little thought in your head with one sentence way early in the book, and then much later she brings it back, and she like adds so much more meaning to that thought, and like there's so many layers to that thought. And I'm actually completely flabbergasted by the way that she's written this book. And I usually do not enjoy sequels because I'm like, it just doesn't hit as hard as the first part. But this book, I feel like this duology is like meshed into one another. And I genuinely did not think that, usually the thing with fantasy fiction or fantasy shows, or all of that, is that I do not like how they're like a band of people that come together to do something and then they split up to like kind of go off on their own journeys to ultimately achieve the same goal. I really dislike that because I don't like them splitting up, and I don't like following different storylines and everyone's going off on a quest of their own. I do not enjoy that because I'm like, every other fantasy show I watch usually has that kind of trope. I do not enjoy that. But in this duology, I'm so happy because I'm like, even though I'm being shown the story from different perspectives, they're not going off on their own tangents and going off on their own quests. They're kind of still like coming back, like they're together and they don't have to come back together. And when things are falling into place and everything's like all the climax is coming through, I'm just so happy to be like, oh, they were by each other's side the entire time. And moreover, what I thought would be the ultimate goal of all of the characters does not turn out to be the ultimate goal. There's something that has been playing in the background all along, and there's like a greater force at place, and there's a greater force at play. And it's just that I am, wow, storytelling at its best. And I'm honestly getting through this very, very easily, and like, it isn't like a burden to read it. I don't feel like falling asleep. I don't like feel like taking a nap. Guys, are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? Because I finished over 200 pages. I've read by 6 p.m. Okay, like, are you proud of me? I really wanted to get in this video like around sunset. The sun is almost set, and I'm just so happy that I finished the book. I am not happy. It's like a bittersweet happiness. I'm not entirely happy, but oh my god, like the ending itself, like I took a recording of it, so you guys have probably seen it. You know, I just really, really, really like Laini Taylor's books. I think, like, okay, there's so many things that I want to talk about. First of all, can we talk about Sarai? Okay, only towards the end of the book did I begin to see so many resemblances between Carew from Daughter of Blood and no, Smoke and Bone. Blood and Starlight is the second one, I think. Yeah, Smoke and Bone. I could see so many similarities between the two characters. I don't want to point them out because I want you guys to check out the book and like figure out how you feel about the characters on your own. But I could see it, and I could see the kind of characters that Laini Taylor creates, especially when it comes to female characters. And I honestly really like them. I honestly relate to them, and I connect with them, and I love them. So there's that. And then there's also the whole, like, it's like everything kind of is presented to you unraveled, and then it's all put back together so well. I also love the way, like, how the entire book isn't just like helplessness in itself. Like, a lot of books that I read, especially when it comes to fantasy, it feels like I'm constantly in a helpless state. Even with fantasy shows, I don't like that feeling. I like the small wins. I like being told that there's hope. And I think most of her books are so centered around hope, around dreams, around wishes, around just like the light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Like, it's just really, I just love how her books don't make you feel entirely like, especially with everything that's going on around us right now, like, it really, like, her books really make it seem like, oh, good triumphs even, you know? And that, like, how like redemption, and forgiveness, and just like seeking humanity and good in people, it all just makes sense. And I just love the book so much. There's so many things that I like about this book. There's so many elements that she adds, the way she just like weaves the stories together. There were so many similarities that I even noticed between the way she writes and the way Erin Morgenstern writes. And I just love these authors. I love the way they write, and I can just hope to like story tell in the way that they do someday. And it's just amazing. There was this thing that she said towards the end about how maybe in some world there might be someone who could fix whatever needs to be fixed. I don't want to give away spoilers, but I also feel like I've given away enough. And if you're watching this, that's on you. I'm reading the thing. I'm gonna want to talk about it, so that's on you. Okay, it's just I felt like, oh, is Miss Taylor indicating at a multiverse situation? Because I would love that. Like, I would love that. I wrote like in one tiny corner in one of these pages, I wrote how I would love being like friends with Sarai and Laszlo. I'm like, okay, these are the kind of friends I want. These are the kind of friends that are just so, you know, they're just so creative with what they want to experience, what they want to like all the things. They're just so full of wonder, and I just want to be around people like that are full of wonder and creativity, and just living the best life that they can. And I just love that about these characters. And I love how like everything is like tied up into a neat bow, and you're just like so happy that you read the book, and like you're not left with like dread, like, oh, there's another upcoming book and I'm just gonna stay sad forever. No, this book is here to make you feel good. It's to make you feel hopeful. Like the word hope and what it means in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, and what it means in this duology. I'm just gonna go and check immediately what other books she's coming out with, if there are any other books that have come out yet. I do have Lips Touch, which is I think a standalone, and I love that. It is like, I think it is like a series of stories in one novel. But I think I should reread that and like have a discussion on that as well. But now that we're done with this beautiful little book, we're going to get on to this. But I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because I think I've read a lot today, and I just want to like watch something. I'm really in the mood to like ditch Winx and get started on something. I rewatch something I watched earlier, only because like it's such a mood, it's such a vibe, and I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna watch. But I'm gonna get started with this book. I had started it earlier. I don't think I got past the first chapter. But yeah, one thing that I really want to talk about this book was that when I had bought it, it was in its pristine condition, and I was really in love with this book because I just love the cover. Okay, I absolutely love it. I found it through another Bookstagrammer, and I got it immediately the minute I had some money in my account, and I left it on a side table downstairs. And the next day I came, the entire front page was bent. Like the front cover page was bent. It was just like it's like thicker sheet, right? It's like cardboard almost. So it was like bent, and there's this like line running through it, and it breaks my heart because I genuinely do not like broken spines, and just like I just don't like it. Okay, so like it really breaks my heart, but it's fine. It's my book. I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna nurture it and cherish it, and I'm just gonna make it my own. And this little imperfection makes it all the more perfect. So it's fine. It's fine. But let's get started.
Den over der, da, I hvert fall. Over Eva, hva da?
It's been a few hours since we last spoke. I said that I was going to get some reading done after breakfast, but I didn't. Suddenly my mom said that it's a Thursday, we don't have a lot of things to do today, so let's just go off to Sadar Bazaar because we need to buy some stuff for the house. So Sadar Bazaar is this wholesale market. It's kind of like the way that foreigners see bazaars. It's kind of like that. It's just a very difficult place to navigate if you're not from here, and I'm kind of stressing about it because it's really hot outside and I just did not want to be outside today. Instead, I'd rather be sitting at home reading. But I'm gonna try and get as much reading as I can. I'm gonna get as much reading done as I can. I'm gonna try to get as much reading done.
रिश्ते रखने के लिए रखो मत, लेकिन उनको
I'm really bad at this. Like, if you ask me to come back into years, say like you have to find out what the year was 60 to 70 years back, I don't know how to calculate that. That really speaks for the education system, and it really speaks for rote memory and for just my general ability with mathematics and science. Which brings me to the scientific aspects, or the scientific elements in this book. Okay, there are so many things that are mentioned in this book that really made me be like, this is why I don't read male authors. Like, okay, so first of all, the fact that this is part of a universe that I haven't read before, it's part 3, and there were these like mentions of linear continuity and like these really weird ideas, and like even like the description, it's really making me feel like I'm reading a sci-fi novel. Like, there are certain scientific fictional elements in it, and maybe I'm wrong about it because it is a fantastical universe. I think it's just about how hard it is for me to catch up when the world is so new, and especially the author is so new. It also made me realize why there's just more emotion and more like relatability when it comes to reading a female author. And like, I haven't read a male author in a while in terms of like reading for pleasure, because I have read male authors for class, but I just it's like I don't enjoy it. Like, it's also the fact that I personally do not want to, but also that like I picked this book up for its for its cover, and now I'm realizing that I should have maybe looked into it more, because I think the title also drew me in, the nightmare painter aspect, because that was something that was interesting to me. And even before this, like, dreams were central to a lot of the fantastical fictional books that I like. A lot of the fantasy fiction that I enjoy involve dreams. Like, the fact that the nightmare part was involved also made me pick it up, but now that I'm reading it, it is like, okay, so can we acknowledge that there are some Freaky Friday elements in this? Like, I did not enjoy that trope when I came across it. I was like, okay, what, I'm not enjoying this. But I do enjoy the fact that the author made the choice of like moving past the whole, oh, like, I don't want to deal with this, I'm so scared, why am I in this body, what is going on, what is happening, can we like, I'm glad we moved past that, and they're kind of working together from the get-go, which is something that I like, because usually in the Freaky Friday element, so there was another movie, I can't remember, but it was a girl and a guy, I think it's Boy Meets Girl or something like that, and boy versus girl, something, okay, and in that also the souls of the body switch, and they kind of exchange or whatever. So the girl's soul comes into the guy's body, and the guy's soul comes into the girl's body, and like the first is like, oh, they just turn against each other and they do whatever they want, which I'm enjoying. That hasn't happened yet in the book. I haven't read too many pages. Yesterday I couldn't do much reading because we went out, and then it was just, I I was not getting into it, because it was like I was starting off the book, right? I need a specific environment to get into the book, and then when it's like getting fast paced, then I can read anywhere in any environment. So it was a little hard for me to get started. But late at night I was reading it like up to 2, and then I just couldn't read anymore, so I only gotten 70 pages. I think the reason why I'm so slow with it is because I'm trying to take in as much as I can in terms of the world building aspect. But there's also okay, so what I like about this book so far is like the fact that the narrator is kind of this really funny dude. To be fair, like I'm a little disconnected with the world in terms of it being built, because there's so much that I don't know about the Cosmere universe. So I'm just like constantly feeling like I don't know enough to be getting into this, and I feel like I'm not going to get the answers, even though I was told by AI that I get all the answers I need about this world in the book. So that's kind of like frustrating. So I do like the fact that the narrator is kind of funny in terms like you kind of like you're sitting in a situation and you just step out of the situation with the narrator and you're having a conversation with the narrator while the plot is progressing. And there was this one chapter where the narrator even like confronts the confusion involving his presence in the story, and how we are not supposed to focus on him and we're supposed to focus on what's going on between Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So yeah, I think a lot of that is very fun. I'm not hating it. I'm actually like the fact that I went straight off to I'm not hating it. I'm liking it, to be fair. It's just isn't as like inviting in terms of the emotional aspect of it. I think when I'm reading, I really like being involved emotionally with the characters, meaning that I want to relate with at least one. I want to relate with the character in the sense of, at least when it comes to fantasy fiction, I think it's fair for me to ask that, you know, if I'm reading like a fictional narrative, or if I'm reading a romance, or like even a dark academia or a mystery, if I'm reading even a psychological thriller, I don't expect that I would relate to any of the characters. But when it comes to fantasy fiction, I kind of want a character that I'm rooting for. I want a character that I'm just like, oh my god, that character and me are so similar, or oh my god, there's this person that I see in this character, like, you know. So yeah, in that way I'm not really falling for it. But it's, I think one of the main reasons for that is because there is a very significant difference in the way women write characters and the way that men write characters. And I'm not saying that there aren't books that I enjoy that are written by men, like one that's coming off like right off the top of my head is Life of Pi. I talk about that book incessantly. It's so sad that I read it so late, and I feel like it's like such an imposter because I'm talking about it years after it's come out of the mainstream. But that's one of the authors where I really appreciated the way he wrote that book, and it really resonated within me. And I even ended up buying another book by him. I have friends who bought books by him just because we enjoyed, even my sister bought books by him just because we enjoyed the Life of Pi so much. So yeah, that whole aspect. So yeah, let's just see how far I can get into this today, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, love you guys, bye. It's somewhere past 6 p.m. and I'm done with almost 40% of the book. Honestly, I need to berate myself a little bit because I was a little too judgy when I started reading the book about it being like by a male author and not me like finding relatability and stuff. Honestly, I'm kind of really enjoying it. I find myself smiling in like different situations, and like I'm really enjoying the way the narrator is like guiding us through the whole story. And the narrator is kind of funny, to be honest. Like there's this one line specifically that I want to maybe talk about. I've like underlined so much. It's like, okay, so there's this one situation where the male character says something to the female character to like irritate her or to like, you know, make her feel shitty, and he says he'd been hoping for a more satisfying reaction. Giving someone a jibe, then having them internalize it felt awful. The conversational equivalent of going for a comedic burp and accidentally inducing yourself to vomit. Like, that's a pretty clever way to write, you know. I think I'm really enjoying the way that the narrator is going about the story. And I'm also like, it's bringing me to appreciate the author as well. The Freaky Friday situation is also fun because we didn't really go into the whole like convincing each other to help each other out. They're just like helping each other out. How so? Like they're just helping each other out as the situation comes. Another thing that I really like is the female protagonist, Yumi. First of all, obviously, I connect with the name itself because Umi, Yumi, all of that. But I also really like her because she's so sweet. She's so cute. Like, she's so respectful to everyone because of like her character itself, and then she's also so nice, and every time she does something cute, I'm just like, she's so cute. Also, like, at first when I recognize the fact that there's a lot of inspiration taken from Korean and Japanese cultures, even the names itself, like the attendants, like Korean, the culture is very Korean, even the dress she wears is bell like skirt. It's all taken from like the hanbok, so they call it the tobok in the book, and it's from hanbok. And like I mean many like associations with the Korean culture and the Japanese culture. Even the city itself, the city from which the painter is, I could see it so visibly. There are these descriptions by the author of the city that I really like. The high-end lines of like magenta and teal, and like I can visualize it so well. There's this one particular description of the city where the narrator goes like, it's like every time you're stepping out into onto a road or whatever, it's like you're stepping out when it just stopped raining. Like the vibrancy, the clarity, like the dark tar of the road, you know, it comes so easily to me because I have watched Korean dramas and like Korean thrillers where it's like the city has that neon coloring around, and you have like these really dark roads, and it's like kind of like it just rains, so everything's like super clear. I just am able to visualize it so well. It's also like kind of reminiscent of the Butterfly Project. It's one of these books I read when I was way younger, and in that book they're talking about New York in a certain way, right? So when you imagine New York in a certain way, it's kind of very even though like most of us haven't visited the place, we all have an idea of the place because of the way it is romanticized. And I feel the same way about the kind of way that the author is kind of describing these places and these people and how they're. And okay, so I really liked Akane. I don't know the backstory yet. I really liked her. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the names right, but I really liked her, and then suddenly now I'm getting like a little bit of a backstory, and I really did not want Akane and Yumi to kind of have a thing, you know. So yeah, I didn't want like a 2-girl 1-guy thing, but let me just tell you, I'm not really loving the painter. I like that he's so willing to help and like be the hero and stuff. I don't know a lot about his backstory. I know there's a backstory coming about him, because like up till now he's been painted in a kind of negative light, even though the author keeps trying, or the narrator keeps trying to give him like allowances and like just like let him get by. But he's kind of like annoying, and I really don't like him. I don't like who he is and who he tries and who he's choosing to be. So yeah, that whole thing. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm kind of really liking how things are going, and I'm like interested to continue reading it. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. But I'm so happy to inform you guys that I have completed the challenge that I set for myself. It is day 7 and I have read over 1,000 pages. in the entire week. So I'm really proud of myself because I have been in a perpetual slump for quite a few years, or at least that's what I think. I kind of forget the books I read. Like I was updating my Goodreads and my this thing, and like when I was updating the goal I had set, I was like, wait, I've read only what 4 books? No, that's not possible. I've read a lot this year, so I need to continue like updating that. I need to keep that updated, the list of books I read. But that aside, I'm really excited to let you guys know that not only did I finish Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, I also finished Swimming Lessons by Malcolm Sia. Now, I know this was not on the list. I wasn't planning to read this, but it turned out to be an exciting turn of events because the day one of these days there was a book launch event for this book in Delhi, and I was invited for it, and I was not going to go because I was just not feeling good about myself. My confidence was really low, and they wasn't available to come along with me, and these kind of social situations really messed me up, and I was like, all because of Dev, I ended up going, and it was a really good event. I loved it. So that was also really exciting. I'm kind of happy that I saw so many people from the publishing industry at the event, and I wanted to interact with them, but my social anxiety was really peaking, so I couldn't. So that aside, I ended up going home and immediately reading the book. I spent the entire night reading, and then this morning I managed to finish this book. And also, while I was reading this book, I was kind of, wow, my hair is I just washed it, so it's like all over the place, but just ignore that, okay? So I also managed to finish this, which I'm so happy because I had over 200 pages left of this book, plus the close to 400 pages of this book, and I managed to complete it within the week. I feel like I also pushed myself harder because I was making this video, so it was an incentive led challenge, but I'm proud of myself because I managed to finish it before July began. One thing, first things first, I have realized I am not the kind of person to read 2 books at once. I just cannot. I need, especially when you're reading like a fantasy fiction, you need to immerse yourself in the world. Like you need to like continue thinking about the world when you're not reading it, and you need to be a part of it completely, and at least for me, and I just could not do that and read this book that was so heavy with emotion. This book, I saw it on Bookstagrammer's page, and she had done a review for the book, and it was associated with Penguin Sea, and it was such a beautiful post. I even commented on it. That's when I first got a glimpse of this book, and I thought that the cover was so beautiful, and it's by a Singaporean author, and it is so culturally rich in terms of representing Singapore. That is one thing that I really liked about this book. I also loved how I could, really understand the multicultural aspect of countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, where I was born, Kuwait, Gulf countries, all of that. I really loved that aspect because it was relatable. Moreover, this book is about 2 sisters, and it's about sisterly love, it's about grief, it's about all of that, and I think I really enjoyed that. I must say that as much as I love paranormal elements in literature, and I love supernatural stuff, and I love all of these like really cool mystical transcendental elements in books, I could not really enjoy it in this book because I feel like I was more appealed. I appealed more. I feel like the sisterly aspect of it was more appealing to me because I really felt it. And I think the book deals with so many things. There has to be a trigger warning when it comes to reading this book, because it's dealing with so many things. It's dealing with abuse, it's dealing with divorce, it's dealing with sexual assault, it's dealing with gender identity, it's dealing with grief, losing someone close to you. It's a lot, okay? And I feel like there needs to be a trigger warning, because I even wrote it in my Bookstagram post where I was just like, I feel like I've lived a bunch of lives when I've read this, because how did this one person deal with so much you know, and the non-linear aspect of it. And there's this thing, so as a literature student, I know we've been put in the position where we need to assess whether the author comes first or the reader comes first, and how the author and their life and their history doesn't matter to a reader. But I think I'm that side of the argument where I do believe the author does matter. So attending the book launch event really allowed me to understand where the author was coming from when they wrote this book, and their whole writing process. And because I knew that the author isn't from a literature background and is from an economics and physics background, I could see how that played into explaining the supernatural. And like reading the two of these books side by side also helped me like reach kind of an overarching conclusion. It might also be like a little bit like far reaching, or it might also be a little bit much that I'm reaching this conclusion or this generalization, but I feel like and I can't say that for all male authors, but I feel like specifically when it comes to fantasy, the male authors I have read, it is a little different from reading female fantasy authors, because I feel like with fantasy fiction written by women, I feel like the magic or the fantastical elements aren't so logically and scientifically like explained. It's not rationalized, you know. And I feel like with this thing, I felt like it was rationalized, but then, you know, I made those judgments and I made those like observations, and I immediately, when I finished Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, I was like, you were so wrong, Avika. Like, you were kind of wrong. Like, I really enjoyed. But then at the very end of this book, when I read the postscript, was it, or was it the postscript? Yeah, the postscript. I was like, okay, you know, a woman was a part of this. Like, I see why Brandon Sanderson wrote this, and like I see that it had the, you know, the I don't know, the touch of a woman, you know, the feel of a woman, you know. And I loved this book. I can't believe it, but I was like, when I was about to finish it, I was like, okay, I might give it like a 4.5. But I was like, who am I kidding? This is a 5. This is a 5. I did not expect to give it this, but it's a 5 because I purely from like not from a critical eye, not from a critical point of view, I absolutely love this book. Like, I read the last 200 pages like this, and I was like, and the ending, and the ending, like, even though it broke my heart, I was like, it's fine, I just love that you gave me this. Like, the fact that you gifted me this universe, I'm happy with that. But I was just like, I was like annotating, thank you, oh my god, thank you. Oh, I love this book so much. I love the world, I love the characters, I love, like, I you know, I made a comment earlier how I feel like there wasn't a lot of emotional weight to the writing, but I was wrong. Okay, there's a difference in the way the authors I love write, and there's a difference in the way Brandon Sanderson writes, and I absolutely love it. And in the postscript, he does talk about the inspiration he took from Korean cultures, and he said that there was, and I was so right about the dichotomy, like how I'm forgetting, the painter's world is inspired from Japan and modern day Japan, and how Yumi's world is inspired from Korean historical dramas. And Sanderson does pay tribute to that, and he says it outrightly that that's where he gets the inspiration from. And I love that about this book. I feel like, oh my god, and even the narrator and design, the character, I love the world. Usually I am kind of hesitant of getting into a fantastical universe because I feel like I will be overwhelmed by how huge it is. But I immediately, when I logged it into my Goodreads account, I was like, okay, I need to explore the rest of the Cosmere books. Like, I need to. But they're so expensive and I really want to buy them. But you know, we will explore it. And I'm so happy. There's so much I want to say about the book, so much about Yumi, so much about the painter. But I honestly just want you guys to go and read it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Just go read it. It's so worth it. It's so cute, it's so I absolutely loved it. Okay, now let's get back to sewing lessons. I think I've said everything that I have to say about this book. I think the author really tries to be poetic in the way that they make us experience the main character, the female lead, and her pain and her life. And there's so many things that are said in the very end of the book. I did underline something that I wanted to say at the very, almost at the very end. The female lead, Michelle, says, I think we all knew deep down that there was a solidarity in this unit that we never bothered to explore more profoundly. It shouldn't have taken a tragedy for us to be bound together once more, but it did. And that is the greatest misfortune of all. I mean, to those that haven't read this book, this would make no sense. But for me, I feel like sorry about that, I dropped the bookmark. I feel like this book was way too relatable to me, because I have been through so much that I've been through so much that the female lead has been through. And also I have this lovely sister of mine, Devyani, and the entire time I was reading, I kept thinking of Devyani and how much she means to me. And I'm a younger sister too, and I have dealt with so many of the things that this main character deals with. Other than that, I feel like I could not shift between the two worlds, because this was something of it was melancholic. It was essentially melancholic, and it broke my heart. And reading this was tough for me, because it was likely that I would go down a hole and take some time to get out of it. But I feel like this saved me. Okay, this saved me, and now I don't feel like reading anything else, because I want to get back into this world, and I kind of want to really enjoy this book again. Oh, I hate that it's over, but yeah, guys, are you proud of me? I have completed the challenge. I read more than 1,000 pages this week, and I know I could not record most of me reading. I was honestly finding moments in between just running around with my family and getting things done, and I just was trying to find whatever time I could to just like read through it. But I mostly read through it during the night, and I have put a few videos of me reading some of those amazing quotes in this book. I just love this book so much. I'm definitely giving this a 5-star. I can't believe I'm giving this a 5-star. And I said in the beginning of the video that I hope I find a 5-star read, and I did. Oh my god, I did. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you. Bye.